itself for use. And that's because that moisture that's there is going to drive the energy into your hand and burn you faster. So what does that do for cooking? Well, for cooking, it allows us to cook faster. It allows us to surround the food with what it is. So most of the things that we cook are made out of water. All the vegetables you guys are cooking in here are made out of water. So it allows us to surround the product with what it is, which means we're going to retain and keep more of the moisture inside of the product as we're cooking it, and the nutritional value, which is probably the most important thing, is the flavor and nutritional value. So that's what we have here. The screen is going to be kind of intimidating because there's a lot of stuff on here. But I'm going to go through a couple things to get you guys armed to at least know where to find a few things in here. And then you're just going to zone out the rest of it and not worry about the rest of it because you're not really going to use it. So
We just started.
the inside we never need to touch. I don't know if Parker went through that with you when he sold you it, but you never have to clean the inside of this oven ever. It'll do it on its own. So we're going to put some tablets in there. We're going to run a clean cycle at the end of the day. And it's going to look like this 15 years from now, no matter what you're cooking there or how dirty it gets during the time you're cooking. It'll come back to normal. So what we don't want to do is we never want to clean the inside of it with anything. We don't want to use any harsh chemicals. We definitely don't want to use any green scrubby pads or Brillo pads or any of that because we don't want to damage the stainless steel because if we
Even
damage
if you
it,
spill something,
yeah,
you
it's
don't
going to
need
clean
to.
it.
So if there is any vegetable or
out.
anything that spills,
Yeah, it'll be fine.
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, it will get dry.
Yeah, I'll be totally truthful. I've never seen an oven that can't come clean. And I mean cooking steaks and fat everywhere. Yeah. The cleaning of this is pretty good. It takes there's 4 different levels of cleaning. The longest cleaning is about 4 hours long, and it basically just goes through and runs water through, and the cleaning chemicals break up. It's kind of like using Dawn detergent and how that breaks apart grease. It's a very similar process with that. We never want to use anything else but rational chemicals in there, but that's basically what's happening is we're breaking down.
You have to
the
do
fats.
it after you're done with the cooking.
No, you don't.
Auto cycle. Or
So what I would do is, if we're gonna like roast vegetables in here, which I think maybe we'll do a little bit of at some point, right? And you put oil on the vegetable, and the oil splatters on the side, and it kind of gets darkened and stuff like that. But then you want to do some rice or steam in there with something that's going to be uncovered. You may want to run a quick cleaning cycle, just to get rid of that. But for the most part, the cleaning could be done on a nightly basis. Like the last person that's here, put it in a clean cycle. It'll clean overnight, right? When you come in the morning, it'll be ready to go. All right. And I probably need to backtrack one thing because I really didn't go over how to turn it on and off.
Yeah, right.
So there's the power button right here, right? So it's haptic, so it's just going to read your finger. You're going to see it turns yellow, and then I'm going to release it, and then it's going to say, do you really want to shut the unit off? And then you're just going to take your finger and swipe it across, and it'll turn it off. All right? Then it'll shut down, and then we'll go through how to start it back up again. There is, while that's occurring, there is LED lights on both sides of the door here that will light up the cabinet while it's cooking so you can actually see inside of it. The doors can separate, so you can clean in between the glass doors. You can continue to see, so if anything builds up on there. You can just use regular glass cleaner on these. The inside, we don't want to do that because that's the cooking cavity, so we don't want to put any chemicals on there that are not designed for inside of an oven. The regular cleaning process will take care of this. You just want to take a warm soapy rag and run it around the outer edge of that door where the gasket sits against it. Just make sure you don't get any food or build up there, and keep that clean.
But
then you
when
want
you do the cooking cycle, cleaning cycle, don't they clean the door?
It'll clean the door during it, but where this door gasket is pressed up against the glass, the food particles can get inside of there sometimes and build up on the glass a little bit. And you just want to wipe that down, along with wiping down the door gasket. Here, I don't see it being as big of a deal as because you're mostly vegetarian, which I just found out here. So we're not cooking any raw proteins, which have a lot of fat in them. So you're not going to see it. What you will see is like oil buildup, right? And if the oil sits on the door gasket and then heats up, it can dry out the door gasket. So we just want to hit that real quick with some warm soapy water to keep that from happening, and that'll just make the door gasket last longer. It's a replaceable part. In this type of a location, I'm guessing once every 2 or 3 years, you might want to take a look. If you start seeing a crack or it gets really hard, you might want to replace it. So, how to turn it on, you're just going to push and hold until it turns green and take your finger off. And then it'll go through. It's like a computer or your cell phone when you shut it off and turn it back on again. There's a boot up process that'll take 30 seconds to 45 seconds for it to boot up, and then once it's up, the main screen will come up. And then I'll go through a few things there. You have a probe. You can use this for a couple things. We can use this for our rice. You could use this for your lentils if you want to try cooking lentils in here too, which you're able to do. This would get put in the pan with the rice and water. You just don't want it to touch the bottom of the pan. You want to have it kind of float in the center of where the rice is.
Okay.
And what that's going to do is that's going to read how much water is being absorbed by the rice and what the temperature of it is. And then what will happen from there is instead of it being, an 18 or 19 minute cooked time every single time, this will drive the cooking process, and it might get done faster depending on volume, size, or whatever. So it can give you a little bit more of a precise cook. The challenge is if it hits the bottom of the pan and gets a false reading or something like that, it might finish a little early. I'm gonna guess most of you know what rice looks like when it's done, so I'll show you a couple things you can do just in case it's not finished when you're done cooking. But for the most part, I think we're going to be in a timed method. I just wanted to let you know this is here. With the lentils, we may need to use this. I haven't figured that one out.
See what happens?
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, almost same question. What happens if I cook, say, rice in one tray and
Yeah.
lentil in another tray?
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting one that I gotta make a quick call on. I don't have the answer to that one.
Okay.
I don't know. I know you could steam your vegetables and do your rice at the
Right,
same
yeah.
time. The lentils, I have to look at the lentil cooking process and see if there's anything other than steam involved, right? Because and I'll show you here in a second. If we can pause on that one. We'll
Yeah,
get to
right,
that in a
okay.
minute. So you can see here's the light on now. The second light turns off so it doesn't blind you when you open the door. But then when you shut it, it'll turn back on again. You've got a basket in the center here in the bottom.
Okay.
That is for some of our cleaning chemicals. So we're going to put some in there. And then we've got a drawer here that has the other set of cleaning chemicals. And I'll go through that
Okay.
here at the end, and we'll do it a couple times just so you guys are familiar with it.
So yesterday, the person who was doing this,
Yeah.
installing, he told we'll be able to do roasting of our potato as well as cooking rice in one go. And is that
I
possible?
don't know about doing the rice and the potatoes. It's different temperatures.
Okay.
In here, we'll just take a quick look. So if I was going to do rice, it's either going to be in our side dish button or our boiling button. That's
Okay.
right here, right? So and they both go to the same spot.
Okay.
Then once I go there and I go down, here's your lentils. So there is a button for cooking lentils. So we're going to come back to that in a
Okay,
second.
yeah,
For
probably
doing
I
lentils
jumped.
in here, but let's do our rice here real quick. We have our steamed rice button.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit that. And then what I can do is this pops up and it tells me, do I want to use it with a probe or without a probe?
Oh, okay.
Okay. If you do with a probe, you just shut the door and it goes and does its thing. Okay.
Okay.
If it's without, then we have to set the time we want it to cook for.
Okay.
All right. Which should be relatively easy to get through. Now, if I hit this button, it's actually going to show me what the cooking cycle is. So it's 208 degrees steam. So you can absolutely steam any vegetable you want in here, and it'll be totally fine with the rice. I would recommend using a no top on the vegetables. And to be totally honest, if you have perforated hotel pans, I don't know if you do or don't.
Yeah, we do.
You do.
Yeah.
Use the perforated ones because steam only works if it can touch the product, right? So if you put it in a solid pan, the steam can't touch the bottom part of the pan, so you're just reheating it at 210 degrees versus actually having the steam cook it. It's going to take longer, and it gives an area for the water to settle, and that bottom layer of vegetables can be more done or mushier than the top layer. So that's why I do like doing that. And do those on the bottom, do the rice on top so you're not dripping on top of the rice pan. Your rice too is going to be done in a hotel pan, but we want to put a lid on it in the ration, which is a little different than what you guys were doing in the other one. The reason why we want to do that is this has the fans on the side, and that's blowing air across the rice. We don't want to dry out the rice, or not dry it out, but harden the rice and not let it soak up the water and soften on the top layer. So if we cover it, it protects that from happening. So
Do you have a special trace what you're talking about? We have to buy it separate?
No, we already have them. In fact, I just set them right there. You can cook all your rice right in there.
Okay.
Yep. It's just the lid, the cover. I don't know if you guys have any covers or not.
Yeah, we do.
Right
We do.
there.
Yeah, we do.
You have them right
Yes.
there. That's what you would.
Same
That's what you would
size.
just put right on top. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. The 4-inch pan, that one there, is the perfect one to do rice in. I was told a 1-to-3 ratio. We may need to bump that up to 1-to-4, maybe
Okay.
1-to-5, possibly. You might have to play a little bit and just make sure you're getting the consistency you want with the rice. So then now let's take a quick look at the lentil and see what the cooking cycle is
One more
on the
question
lentil.
regarding
Yeah.
what if we have more than one tray of rice?
Yep.
Because that's what most of them we cook. What do we do?
Nothing. Just same thing you did
Same
before.
thing, we put it in.
Yep, put it in there and it's going to do exactly the same thing. So,
Same thing.
one thing I do have to mention, apologies, I should have mentioned this before we started talking about the actual cycle itself. When I start this cycle, it has to preheat the oven. So what we don't want to do is come in, hit the button, and then load the product right away, because what'll happen is it's going to preheat the oven, and you're thinking it's cooking it. So it's not actually cooking. So what'll happen is there'll be an audible tone. There's going to be a little bar that shows up down here showing it preheating, and then it'll be an audible tone, and the screen will say load on it, and that's when you would put it in. I'm going to go through this with you so you can see what it looks like. But I just want to take a quick look at what the lentil cycle looks like. Yeah, so we're cooking at a little bit higher temperature, and we're boiling at a higher temperature too. So we cannot do the lentils with the rice. You might be able to do it with the vegetables. It depends on what you want the vegetables to look like. When you start going above 212 degrees for the vegetables, even with steaming, you'll start to brown them slightly. So if you don't want your vegetables to have that kind of a color on it, I would stick with the straight steam with the rice. So the 208, the 200, or 208 degree is good.
So it is going to show the time, 1 hour 16 minutes.
Yeah, so what that's going to do is this is going to be fully driven right now off the probe. So you would have to put the probe in with the lentils, and that number will totally change. Depends on how many lentils are in the container, on how long it cooks, and the probe's doing the reading to kind of figure that out. The other option is when you go without, right, now it says it's set for an hour because that's what we have it set at. If I went to an hour and 45 and went to that, that's going to switch to, well, that should switch to an hour and 45 when I save it.
Okay.
There it is, it just switched there. So, and then you've got low to high here too, so you can even go higher. Currently, how are you doing the lentils?
Yeah, right here we
Right
just
there,
put
right?
the rental
Yeah.
1:3
In there,
and then let
yeah.
it boil. That's
And
all.
just boiling.
Yeah, that's it.
yeah. So if I went to the high temperature and look, now we're at a much higher. Wow, that is very much higher. So this is where we're taking the convected oven heat and the steam and mixing it together. That's how we're able to get that temperature versus just steam.
Yeah.
So I don't know how this would turn out. Evan, who's going to come in and help, may be able to assist with that. I'm going to have one other person come in and just go through a couple of the other items with you.
There's going to be a chef training.
Yeah.
The chef will come and he'll show exactly what we cook. We can ask.
This
him
is
to
like a
cook.
unit introduction. He'll come in for 4 hours and just work with you guys for 4 hours, cooking all the different items you have, right? And how you guys want to do it. I would challenge you guys to try things in here, especially with the volume of people you're trying to serve, which I just found out. It's a lot of people. and I'm guessing you're moving them through here pretty quickly, right? Which means prepping and getting ready for that is probably a little hectic. If you can take and relieve whatever kind of stress we can out of here, it's only going to help. So
one thing I noticed, for the rice, you said in some temperature different. What about the second tray have a vegetable?
yeah.
Do we have to set up a separate?
No, so
temperature cycle?
you wouldn't need to necessarily. I don't think the vegetables are going to take as long, and I'm going to show you what we could do there. There's something we could do. Yeah, I'm going to try something real quick with you guys to see if it'll help, and I'll set it up for you and then talk about it. But I just want to make sure that we're comfortable so far with turning it on and off, the screen. There's a lot of stuff on here, right? So
Sorry, how long is the preheating process?
in the morning when you come in, it depends on what the temperature of the kitchen is. I'm guessing 64 or 65-ish, somewhere in that range. It's going to take 4 or 5 minutes that first cycle to preheat.
Oh.
Once it's up and running, maybe 2 or 3 minutes to preheat. So what I usually will recommend is if you're used to time, as I would almost start preheating and then start getting stuff ready to put in, right? That way, when it starts buzzing, which it's gonna do, you can just hit the handle, push on here, it'll audibly stop buzzing you, letting you know it's ready, but then it'll just sit there ready to go. And then when you're ready to load that in, you go ahead. So it's sometimes just doing things a little differently than you were doing it before will help. So these get you to the same place. It's just how your brain works. You're a right side brain thinker or a left side brain thinker. And what I would mean by that is if we're going to do our vegetables, right? Are we thinking about the vegetable that we're cooking, or are we thinking about we're steaming it or roasting it or baking it, right? That's what the difference is. This is the item, so the vegetable itself. This is how we're cooking it. And that gets you to the same spot. So if I went to here and went to down, you're going to see steamed rice right there, right? But if I go to the boil button and then cycle down, you're going to see your steamed rice there also. So it just takes 2 different ways of thinking and gets you to one spot faster. You can change the language on here. So depending on, I don't know exactly which language.
No, just English, yeah. English.
Just English is good, no matter what. And you can do English from India or anything like that too, which would be a terminology that you might use that an English person would not use. It'll be in there. So if that makes sense, right?
Do you have
So-
shortcut menus, like where we can just instead
Yes,
of having so
save it
many-
all. So I already started that
Okay.
process. So right on the front screen, this is where I was gonna go next. So see this little star button?
Uh-huh.
If we go there, I already put in
Oh.
2 different rice
Oh.
buttons for you.
That's
So,
easy.
my guess is you'll probably have 5 or 6 of them in here,
Yeah.
right? And then you'll be able to go. So that's going to be the easiest thing. And I just need one person to kind of get this, to understand how to navigate it. And if we can get this populated, everybody else can push the button. So basically what's going to happen is if I wanted to use, I put rice timed and then rice with probe, right? So if I hit that button, light's going to pop on, and then it's not going to do anything. You want to know why it's not going to do anything?
There's nothing in there.
Because there's nothing in there. Nothing in there, and the door's open, right? So, first thing I'm going to do is shut the door. And then, it also is going to say, please insert your temperature probe. But, what's the first thing it's going to do is it's going to start preheating. Oh, this one didn't. Of course, I had to pick the one cycle that doesn't need a preheat, because it's rice and it's steaming. So never mind. You will not need a preheat with the rice button. So that's nice.
You can leave the probe anywhere like that.
So you can see it's kind of it's got a home right now, right? I don't know if you noticed that or not. There's a little spot right here that it can live in, right? I do recommend that it's there.
Okay.
Because if it ends up like this, or like that somehow, you're gonna shut the door and destroy it. So I do like just kind of leaving it right there.
Yeah. So this is like a plastic. It won't get destroyed by heat.
No. It's a thermal wrapped
Okay. Good.
wire basically.
Okay.
Yeah. And the probe is kind of different than what you would normally think. Most people would think that that's the only spot that reaches the temperature. The Rationale probe has 5 thermocouplers in here, so it can read, if you put this in a large cut of meat, it would read the temperature as it's migrating into the meat to know when it's done, to the doneness you want it done. And then it has a thermocoupler or a temperature reading here in the base of it too, so it knows what it's happening on the outside of the product. When you put this in rice, when you put this in the lentils, it's just using the whole thing. If this just happens to touch the bottom of the pan, it would most likely throw that one out and know, because it's reading a much different temperature than the other 4. But if it completely lays on the bottom, that may get you a false reading. And that's why I was recommending maybe go with the timed cook once you know what it is. It's going to be between 18 and 22 minutes for a... Yep.
Since we have only one pro,
Yep.
and if I'm cooking rice and vegetables together something,
Yep.
and I'm putting in the boil condition, right?
Yep.
Setup. But how will the temperature might be completely different when I use the pro for one pan and not on the other
Yeah,
one. So it's going
Yeah.
to be different.
It could be, yeah. So as long as the volume in the pans of rice is the same amount of rice, same amount of water in each pan, they're all going to cook exactly the same. So we just need the probe in one of those pans to drive that cooking process. The vegetables, very rarely are you ever going to probe a vegetable. It's just going to be steaming it until it's done to the point that you guys like it. What I would recommend is, because this is probably going to be a longer cook process than what you would need to steam the vegetables for, you have one of 2 options. You can just pay attention, right, and kind of come over and pull the vegetables out when you need to, right? Or the other option would be is I could set it up where we could have timers on each level. So as you load the product in, you would say vegetable here, rice here, vegetable here, rice there. And then the timer will go off and show you what level is done. And then you can just pull
So
it out.
it keeps track of each level.
Yeah.
There are like
So
1,
if
2,
I
3,
hit
4,
this right
5.
here and go to
Yeah.
iProduction Manager,
Okay.
that's what would happen here. And then I put the rice with the probe up here. So then I'd make a separate button for the vegetable.
Okay.
And then you just drag that down to whatever level you load the product
Oh,
on.
okay.
And it should stay there. Oh no, it's not going to do it because it's with probe.
Okay.
So we got to do timed method with this one.
But when you talked about a huge difference in temperature between the lentils and
Yeah.
rice, likely if they put rice and lentils together, is it better to just put the probe in the lentils because that takes longer to cook?
Yeah.
So
And is that okay?
It could be. My concern, and the question that I would have to go up Rationale chef chain for would be the difference of temperature between the 208 degrees and 230 for the lentils, and what that's going to do to the vegetables. I don't want to overcook the vegetables to allow to be able to do the same things at the same time.
Yeah, maybe not vegetables, but just rice and lentils,
Yeah.
for example. Would that be okay?
I guess it's the same thing. Yeah, the rice and the vegetables could be done together. I need to double check on the lentils. That one might have to be a totally separate process, which for me would be maybe cook the lentils first, get those done and out, and then load up your rice and vegetables, right? And then the lentils can sit out. They're a little more hardy, I would say. So they should be able to sit out, and then once the rice is done, then you can mix it together and do what you needed to do at that point. Does that make sense? Does that fit what we're gonna
I mean,
do? Or
we'll have to try it out and
No, as you
Yeah.
said, yeah, we have to figure a few things.
you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple things to be able to do. Evan, that's why having Evan here for 3 or 4 hours and you guys running through this process with him
Yeah.
will be a big step forward. My job is basically just to train you how to turn it on and off and how to read it.
Okay.
So, but I do know more than the average
Yeah,
person,
that's
so
right.
I can do a little bit more. It's just I don't want to, without actually cooking the food and going through it, it could be more confusing now if I started going too far into it.
Yeah,
But
right.
the main thing right now is start cooking the rice in here, right? And we can do that soon, in the next couple minutes. So if you guys need to cook rice for anything right now or not?
We can try. We can put
You can just put a
I mean, if
small.
you don't need to. You can just try it later and.
Yeah.
Can we use smaller tray, half tray?
Yeah.
Just use the small one. Just use the half tray.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah,
need
yeah,
so
yeah,
much
for sure.
rice.
Yeah, use the half tray. Do
Yeah.
obviously half the amount. The time may not be exactly the
Correct,
same, right? A full tray will most likely take longer than a half a tray.
While we're preparing that, I was wondering, what about safety? What kind of
yeah.
safety precautions do we need to take?
Yeah, so the pans are obviously going to be hot. One thing I always recommend too, first of all, make sure the hood is on, right, when we're steaming, because what will happen is this was going to generate a lot of steam. So I do recommend if you're going to open it, don't open it like this, because you're going to get a facial that you probably didn't want to have, because it's going to hurt a little bit. I always recommend, shoulder to the door, open like this, or even better, do this. Just leave it like that. Most of the steam will rise up here. 15-20 seconds, not going to hurt anything. Let as much of the steam out as possible, and then open it up. That's the biggest safety thing I can think of.
Small one.
And then the next thing, which is you probably already know, is don't use a wet towel to grab the pans, right? Use something dry, a dry towel or an oven mitt to grab the pans, just like you guys were doing with the
Why,
steamer.
what is the reason for that?
So it's, yeah, so remember how we were talking about how water's a great conductor of energy?
Right.
If you take a wet towel and grab a hot pan with a wet towel, whatever temperature that pan is gonna go right through the wet towel into your hands. Very fast, like instantaneous, and it doesn't feel good. At 208 degrees, not as big of a deal, but if you were at 400 degrees for the lentils and try to pull that pan out, it's pretty hot and it'll burn pretty good. So that's the biggest thing. The only other thing that I can highly recommend is when you're pulling, I'm so glad you asked that, by the way, because sometimes I don't think about talking about that right away, is when you may get water built up on the surface of the lid. Right, because it's going to drip, because you're going to get condensation in there, and so you might get a little bit of water building up on them. So when you pull the pans out, try and pull the pans out as flat as possible. If you tip it, it could. The other option would be is to remove the lid inside, dump the water off, and then pull the pan out. And I'll show that to you guys now. So if you grab a lid, actually, let's just go through that right now.
Like, we don't need safety glasses and stuff, right?
No.
Okay.
And honestly, you don't even need the shelves in here unless you're using something smaller than a half-size hotel pan. So these don't even need to be in there because this pan
Hang off of it,
will run right in on this shelf rail here. So you don't even need the shelf.
just like the other previous
Yep,
one. Okay.
yep.
Are
So-
is it like mandatory, or we can keep the shelf also? Because
You can keep them in
sometimes
there
we
if
can
you
even
want to. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
There's no problem with that. You're just gonna keep your shelf in and then run it either in on the rail or not on the rail like you had it. So
Okay, yeah.
I just wanted to show you guys that that's there. What?
No, sometimes we also want to cook in those aluminum.
Oh yeah,
foil
yeah.
sheet.
Yep. So when I load this in, right, and I've got my top on here, and you're up. I'm not so much concerned with these down here because you can see it.
Yeah.
But if you're vertically challenged, when you get to a certain point, you can't see the top of the lid.
Right.
So what I would recommend is pulling it partially out and lifting the lid up, right? And trying to drain some of that water off of it, right? And then you want to remove it as level as possible when you're taking it out and let it dry. Okay? So, hi Parker.
Probably get silicone gloves.
When at all possible, if you're not doing a full cycle, meaning
And Kendall?
meaning we don't have the 5 4-inch pans of rice in here, use the bottom. Stay safe, right? Use the bottom there, and then go from there. Yeah. So okay, good. So let's do this. Let's set it down real quick here, and we'll go through the process of what I would do. So you've got your water, and you did like a 1-to-3 ratio. Is that what you just did? Okay. So we're gonna come in, and for what I did right now is let's do it with the probe first and see how that works. So we're gonna hit the rice with probe. door. Load our rice in. Do you have a cover to go on a half
Yes.
pan? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the probe. And you want to get it down in the water mix with the rice, but you don't want to have it like try not to get it to touch the bottom of the pan. And then you take that, so it's just kind of in there and then laying across the water. And then take the cover and just set the cover on top so it holds the probe in place. And we shut the door.
Can remove the other pan or it can be okay
Yeah,
there?
it's not gonna hurt anything.
Okay.
Well, let's do it just because we can talk about a few other things while we're doing it. And then all you're gonna do is shut the door. And then the cycle's gonna start. And what you'll notice here is that it'll be at 27 minutes and 55 seconds, but as you're cooking, the probe's gonna do readings and it may knock time off or it may add time on depending on what's happening inside the pan as it's cooking. All right. So you're going to have steam coming out up here because this uses something called an open steam system, which is it's constantly producing steam, putting it into the cavity, moving it throughout the cavity, and then discharging it out this guy right here. So you're going to see steam kind of coming out of here as you're using it. Gas unit? Yeah, it's a gas unit. So actually, your steam's going to come out of this one here. That's for your
Flue gas.
heat exchanger. So that's right, because we were originally going to do electric, and then we had to switch
Yeah,
to
right.
gas. So, you put anything else in the rice? Just water. There's nothing else in there. We don't.
No,
we don't
just
do-
rice.
Sometimes we
rice and
mix it
water.
with the other lentil I showed you, the small
Yep,
one,
Yep.
for making the sweet rice.
Okay, and that's during the cooking process, so the
Yeah,
smaller
yeah,
lentil.
right.
So that
Both-
smaller lentil is interesting because I'm
Yeah.
guessing that cooks faster than
Yeah.
a larger one.
Correct,
does.
yeah.
Yeah. With the rice.
It's
So
almost
you're
similar
good
to
there,
rice, yeah.
Yeah. So in that case, if you were doing the lentils, you could probably do the lentils, the smaller ones, with the rice. The larger
Right.
ones, I'm not 100% sure on. That would be a good question for Chef when he comes in. You can see how the steam's already building up in there. The other thing that you'll notice too is that you're going to get condensation build up in there because the pan's cold. The water's cold, the pan's cold, and when it's that warm, moist air, that steam-laden air hits the cold pan, it's going to create water droplets, and those will drop too. So you're going to see water in there as it's working, but as the time goes on, the moisture actually disappears in there, and you don't see it because everything's up to temperature. So you don't actually physically see the moisture in the chamber anymore. So I'm curious to see how it shows. So right now this is your timer, right? At any point you can see what your cooking path is. On here, this is down here. You can see there's a little add time. So there's a little like clock with an arrow on it.
Yeah.
Let's say we get to the end and the rice isn't done. Okay. You can hit the add time there and then add 2 or 3 or 4 more minutes to the cook time to make sure it's done.
Okay.
Like I said, it's going to be a slightly different because I'm asking you to cover it versus uncovered, the old method. So you may have to play with the water ratio a little bit. So, and then once you hit whatever works and it comes out perfect in the way you want it, I would almost like mark your measuring cup or whatever it is, right? So that it's consistent. Yeah, always the same all the way through. So now at this point, this is running, right? And if I open the door, you'll kind of get an idea of the amount of steam that'll come out. As this is going, more and more will come out. So what you want to do
Actually, we didn't
is
start
just, yeah, you didn't actually.
the bottom one, the second one, yeah.
There we go. Now you can see.
Exhaust.
Exhaust,
So,
yeah. The
If
second
you
switch.
open it up fast, completely, all the steam will come out below into here, which I'm guessing may have happened
Yeah,
in your
from
old
the steamer
steamer
too.
anyways. But let's use the fan when we can. Open it just like that. You can see how it's drawing that steam back, and then you can open it up and it won't be as bad. Okay. So this is where you can open it up, and you can see that the timer stopped because I opened the door. And this is where you could probably add those vegetables in if you wanted to, and start cooking the vegetables right now, and then the timer will click back on again. And then you would just keep an eye on the vegetables.
So when
This
you
way.
open the door, does it pause cooking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Now, the really nice thing about this with the probe is that if you did that on the timed method and you opened the door and the timer stopped, technically that rice is still cooking because it's still absorbing the water that's in the pan, right? So that could be off on the timed one. With the probe, it's going to be constantly reading what's happening in the rice, so it's going to know where that sits. So,
So this is the steam version, but do you have a steamless version where they can use it also just for roasting?
absolutely. Yeah. I'm going to try and run this all the way through, but yeah, there's a whole other menu thing here. So if I went back to the main screen here, you've got proteins, fish, you can do bread in here, you can do eggs. I don't know exactly what cuisine, it said mostly vegetarian. But
Yeah, right.
Like roasting vegetables, right? So if I went here and I went to this vegetable button, you're going to see you've got the ability to grill vegetables if you want to do them, right? You can, there's you got a
Roasting,
potato
yeah.
on there, but you've got a
Potato.
roast vegetable right here.
Yeah.
That's going to be perfect for your diced potatoes, for roasting beans if you wanted to roast the beans, if you're doing, so what types of vegetables? Beans, you doing broccoli
Potato,
at all?
yeah,
Broccoli, cauliflower?
Yeah.
Squash, you have
Right, yes.
squash,
Yeah.
okay.
Zucchini, yeah.
So pretty much them all. That roast button is my favorite cooking cycle on the Rational. What I can tell you though is that the coloring on it is going to be dependent on what's on the vegetable when it goes in. If it goes in with nothing on it, the coloring is going to be darker and almost burnt. If you get oil on there, it evens the coloring out, doesn't make it as dark. So oil first if you can on it. I like the salt and pepper. I do like seasoning after I cook it, not
Yeah.
while I'm cooking it, because that just disappears in the cooking process. So, but yeah, some type of an oil on it would be good to help even out the color.
Is it basically like a large air fryer
Yeah,
at that point?
yeah, that's really what it is. Yep. But that roasting vegetable button is going to leverage a little bit of combi, which is going to throw some steam in there too. It's not just going to be full dry heat. It's going to get some steam in there, because what the steam does is it starts cooking the inside of the vegetable faster, so that we're not overcooking it or overcooking the outside before the inside's done. And it also speed up the process too for the cycle. So you'll get the product done hopefully faster than you would certainly in a standardized oven. So and then yeah, you just let it rip, and you can open and close the door like I said. You've got a new load button here too. So let's say you did 6 pans of rice and or 5 pans of rice and you needed to do 5 more right away. You can just hit the new load button and load the product in, put the probe in, and it'll just automatically go. So you don't have to go and find the button again and push it and go through all of that.
See, with the steamer, what we used to do is we'll put the rice a little bit wet, because I can't carry the whole pan with the water.
Yeah.
I just load the rice, pull the pan, and then I just pour the water with the filling. So I can do that with this.
Yeah, you can do that there too if you wanted to.
So
Yeah,
I can
you could. Yeah, just bring your measuring cup
So
over.
actually, I was about
So-
to do that when I was bringing the rice.
So how long is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Can you pull
Yeah.
that out?
You can pull it out. It pulls it. Yeah, I don't. Can you do it with the door?
Oh, it,
So it's
it doesn't
locked in.
come with
Oh,
the
there
door.
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I
So
was
it pulls
about
out, and then the harder you push on this, the more intense it comes out.
to.
So you can just kind of have it stream out nice, or you could probably have fun with the people getting their food over there if you wanted to. And you have 2 different types of spray on here too. You've got more of a jet spray, but then you can twist this and have that's your jet spray, and then this right here is more of a gentle spray. So it's either one stream going really far or more of a gentle spray. So yeah, you can absolutely use that.
Okay.
During the cleaning time, it just stays in the jet spray mode, right?
Well, during the cleaning time, nothing.
it should be.
It doesn't come
So-
at all.
It never even uses it. You're never
So
going to
it
use it
uses the
during the
inside
cleaning.
part.
Yeah.
That-
It is done
I-
automatically. You
Automatic,
don't do
but
anything.
what mode this should be set? Because we are going to change in case if you want
No,
one
that's-
Oh
stream.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that-
I would keep it on the gentle
Gentle,
spray.
that's
Yeah,
right.
don't do the
Yeah.
straight one.
So let's
I
keep
don't
it
even
in
know
mind.
why that one's on there.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've had customers that have had a Rationale for 4 years, and I just happen to come in, and they're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, for 4 years you haven't noticed you have a hose that you can spray water out of? Like, how's that possible? But yeah, sometimes people don't even notice it's
Because
there.
once
Very
they change,
rarely
they have to
use
put
it
it back
too.
in this boat.
Yeah,
I wonder.
yeah.
No, we would like to, because the
We'll be
rice
using
is
it very often.
heavy.
It's very
so
heavy.
we just put the rice and then we pour
Definitely
the
we'll be
water.
using that.
Because we
Yeah.
know that if I fill it so much,
Yeah.
then
hard
it's
to
1
put
is to
it,
3.
raise it,
Correct,
the way
yeah,
properly
yeah.
putting it in.
So one thing I can tell you that if that's the way you like doing this, I would recommend not keeping the grids in there and setting the pans on top of the grid. If you need to use those, then
Yeah,
put them
right,
in.
yeah.
But keep them out. And the reason why is the
Yeah.
channel that the pan
Yeah,
goes in
right.
on has a sheet, has a,
Yeah, so
a
it won't
C
fall down.
shape, right? So you can pull it out and it's going to bend, and
Yeah, right.
the
Oh.
channel will hold it a little bit so that it doesn't fall out or tip, right? So you can actually pull the pan out slightly without it tipping over, right? Which will allow you to put your water in. I would still recommend, I mean, for me, rice can be very finicky on the amount of water you want to use. Once you figure out the amount of water for the amount of pounds or kilograms, whatever you guys use, of product in here, once you get that figured out, I would almost do the same exact amount every single time.
Yeah.
Some people soak the rice first. Some people rinse it first. The thing with this that's very different than boiling it is that all the starch stays in the rice. It doesn't get cooked out or washed out during the cooking process like boiling. So it's still going to be similar to what was happening when you were steaming it before, but it is very starchy, which can allow it to clump. 2 things you can do. You can rinse the rice quickly before you put it in, and that'll wash off the starch on the outer surface of the rice and make it less apt to stick together. And then adding something else to the rice can also help. But you can also soak the rice too for a little bit if you wanted to also. So pre-make the pans, let the rice soak up some of that water, and then start cooking it. That's going to shorten your cook time, plus it won't have as much loose water in there because the rice has started soaking up that water too. So there's a couple different methods you can use to shorten the time, make it a little bit safer. It really depends on what you're trying, what your end result is you want. So when this is done, it's going to tell you the exact amount of time it took to cook the rice too. So it'll give you a good understanding of how long.
Yeah, right.
I'd be very surprised if this still takes 24 minutes, and if it does, you may have to look at something. So, because usually it's a 22-minute cook process for a pan of rice. So,
The current steamer we use rice with about 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah.
oh, 30 to 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an atmospheric steamer. So that it's very different than what this is. This has like a little chamber inside over here that fills up with water, and then it boils the water, and then it takes the steam that's boiling, that's coming off the boiling water, and ejects that into here. How that produces steam is it takes water and it splashes it onto a hot like
coil,
surface,
yeah.
and it like vaporizes
Yeah,
the
right,
water,
vaporizes,
right? That's actually not steam; it's vaporized
Vaporized
water.
water, yeah.
So it's not as intense. So that's about 70% of the steam that's made is actually being used to cook the product in something like that. In here, it's like 98% of the steam. So everything should cook faster in here than it will in there, just by the nature of how we're producing the steam. And it's hygienic too, which means we're not going to get flavor transfer from one item to the other. So if you have something that you're going to put in here that might have a spice on it, and you're trying to cook it with something that you don't have a spice on it, as long as they don't come in contact with each other, meaning drip or fall on, that flavor won't transfer from one item to the next. In there, it absolutely would, because it's using the same steam
Correct.
consistently to cook all the way through. This, it's constantly being cycled through and out. So, so yeah, let's see how long this takes with the probe, and then we can try it by the minute afterwards. Trying to think of anything else. If you want to keep the outside like nice and shiny and new, warm soapy water, wipe it down, and then they make stainless steel polish that you can do. And I don't know if you guys have any of that or not, but any of the stainless steel stuff in here, the polish will help keep it nice. Don't use anything else but a towel with warm soapy water on it. Don't ever use green scrubby pads or anything anywhere near this. You don't need it on the inside, you don't need it on the outside. All it's gonna do is scratch it off, and then once you scratch stainless steel, it can become, it basically opens it up to starting to rust. That the stainless won't rust as long as it stays smooth, but if you scratch it or start messing with the outer surface of stainless steel, it can actually start to rust. So we don't want to have it obviously happen.
So whenever we use it, maybe at the end of the day, you want us to just do auto clean, right?
Yeah. And there's 4 different cycles. My guess is I would stick with the medium cycle for you guys. How is the water here? Is it hard?
No, it's soft, very good water.
Okay.
So, there's no salt
Are
in it.
you on a well or?
No,
is it
it's
just
Monroe County.
It's Monroe County,
Yeah.
and it's pretty. You're not having a lot of scale buildup in your dishwasher or
absolutely
anything.
no.
Okay, good. Because that's part of the cleaning process. So I'm going to say a light or a medium clean would be perfectly sufficient here.
Okay.
And I'll
So we
walk
got
through
2
that.
types of cleaner.
Yeah, we're going to walk through that right now. Each one of these buckets has these chemicals in it.
Okay.
One's green, one's blue.
Okay.
I am not going to set this down on the surface just because it is a chemical. But you've got 2 different tablets in here. You've got your green tablet and your blue tablet. Okay. They can be an irritant to your skin. I won't say they're not going to burn your skin, they're not caustic, but they can be an irritant. So I do recommend one of 2 things. Either cutting the bag with a pair of scissors that would get washed right afterwards, or tear it open and just use the package to dump the chemical in, or just be safe and throw on a pair of gloves, right? You just do rubber gloves and just throw a pair on when you're handling the chemicals, just to be safe. So this green one can be 1, 2, or 3 in the unit for cleaning it, and the screen will tell you how many will go in. This is going to go in that little drain that's on the inside of the unit. All right, so you're going to drop however many the screen tells you to put in there, and just leave them without the wrapper. Obviously, cut the wrapper, remove the wrapper, and then the same thing here. You would cut this off in that little drawer that's right here. You're going to pull that out, and it's per package. So this will say 1 showing this package. If you feel inside the package, there's actually 4 separate detergent tabs in there. All 4 need to go in for every 1 that it shows on there. So it is for the whole
So it will
package.
tell how much to add?
Yeah, it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you exactly how many you put in. There's going to be a diagram showing you where to put it and everything.
Okay.
So as soon as the rice is hopefully done cooking here, I'll go through that process with you too so you can see it done. The numbers you were telling me out there for the amount of people that you're serving, is that, how many days a week is that?
Mostly we have
just
crowd.
1 day.
A crowd on
1 or 2
Saturday
days.
and Sundays.
1 or 2 days.
Yeah, we get
Okay.
like
and then during the week is similar.
50 to 75,
50
or
to
maybe just
75.
because
Okay.
winter we get less people, summer
Okay.
more. Yeah.
So what I would do then is I would say during the week a light clean should be plenty for it, and then on Saturdays and Sundays maybe do a medium or a heavy clean because you've used it more, I'm guessing, and put more food through it. You don't need to clean it every day. So if you've only steamed in it 2 or 3 or 4 pans that day, you can run it the next day and even the day after, right? And then clean it. Maybe clean it on Friday to get ready for Saturday and Sunday would be a good thing, right? And then just use it during the week. If it's starting to get dirty and you don't like the way it looks, then clean it.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing about it. If you were a restaurant that was serving, 300 people a day, every night, and you were cooking proteins and had chicken and fish and all that kind of stuff in there, you'd be cleaning it every day, and you would want to be cleaning it every day. With what you're trying to do, you're being about as nice to this piece of equipment as you could, I think, with what you're cooking in here. So especially if the water's in good shape too. We did thank you for putting the filter on. I know it seems weird filtering the water, but we are cooking with it, right? So whatever comes in the water is on your food. So filtering it helps, and that's going to do. Monroe County puts a lot of chlorine in the water in the springtime and the fall time. You can actually physically smell it when you turn the faucet on, right? This is going to take care of all that chlorine, and it's going to pull that out of the water any sticks and stones, little tiny things that can end up in the water. It's going to pull that out too. So it's just going to make very, very nice water to be cooking with.
So the filter, how long it lasts?
So for here, I'm going to guess probably a couple of years.
Okay.
And when it's up, just contact Parker.
So how do you know it's up? Like
So there's a little gauge on here, and when it gets down into the red,
Okay.
that means that it's clogged.
Okay.
All right, or it's filling up with sediment.
Okay.
So, and that's when you need to change it. So when you start approaching that is when you're going to need to change it. So, but I don't. The volume you're cooking, it's going to last quite a bit of time. So, and then like I said, you can just order another one for you. It's easy to install. So you just have to turn the bypass off so that the water's not flowing through it. Unscrew it, screw the new one on, turn the bypass back on again. So
Get a little bucket.
what's that?
Still we need water inside of it though. It's
Yeah.
just
Oh
like
yeah. You want to have something on the floor. So, I would. Do you have a? Maybe not. Do you have a chemical storage area by chance?
No.
No. Okay. They're fine there. They're fine there. Just leave them there. Not gonna hurt anything.
We can make some replacement.
If the food
Yeah.
safety people come in and they say something.
Yeah, we can make.
Yeah, they'll make room because they may say something about all the chemicals that are here. That usually they like to have them outside of the kitchen on the bottom of a rack somewhere. So, and I know I did it. And this is one of those parent moments. I guess I could say, "Do as I say, not as I do." Don't put too many things on top of the.
Yeah.
All right, because you can hit the vents and damage them or bump them or scratch them too. So,
How much warranty comes with that?
how much?
The warranty.
Oh, warranty. You
period.
have a 2-year on the whole unit.
Okay.
So parts and labor minus the probe, the door gasket. Those are wearable parts. They're not covered under the warranty. So you have a 2-year warranty on that, and then the steam generator, which is the most expensive and easiest thing to go wrong in a steaming piece of equipment. You have a 5-year warranty on that. So it's a good warranty.
This is locally supported from Rochester.
The guy, yep, the guy that came in to install the unit is our certified person. Yep, and that's who I would use even after the warranty's up. They're trained to work on these. This isn't a steamer or a 6-burner. If you took I don't know if you saw it while the side panel was off, but it's like a rat's nest of wires and stuff. There's all kinds of stuff going on in there. So it's definitely something you want somebody trained to be working on it. The chemicals that you have here right now, what I would recommend is I would take at least one of the boxes of chemicals that came with it and throw it in somebody's office up on a shelf or something like that. Because inevitably what's going to happen is you're going to run out of chemicals and you forgot to order them. And it could take 2 weeks to get the chemicals if they don't have it in stock.
We have
And then
it in
you do have it in
Yeah,
stock.
we always have it in stock.
All right. So you're good anyways. But I always like
But still,
just
to know
throw
that.
a couple away just in case. That way, if you do by chance run out, you've got a couple cleans. You already have my phone number. Save it. I have stuff at my house I can always swing out in an emergency too. But
You're also on my
They're
way
here.
home too.
what's that?
I said you guys are also on my way home too.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
That is
sure.
very true.
get
Yeah,
all your
that
So
works
So
out
where
really
do you live? In Monroe County?
I live up in Webster.
Oh, Webster.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm right here. So, but he drives right by going home. So,
And I'm up here every Sunday at my fiance's mom's house.
oh, okay.
Good.
Good son-in-law to be. There is an air filter right here. So let me show you this air filter. This is something maybe you have a way to put on a calendar somewhere, check the air filter. I would do it once a quarter and just take a quick look. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take your finger or 2 little screwdrivers and put them in here and press, and you're just gonna pop this off like that, okay? And it's just a little grate. And then underneath here, you're gonna see there's a little tab right here where my thumb is.
Yeah.
You're gonna push in on that tab and then pull down. I'm gonna do it with this hand. Pull down and then you
Okay.
can pull that filter out.
Okay.
And this is gonna collect dust. It's going to pull dust in from the kitchen. Just inherently, it's what's going to happen. This is what provides fresh, clean, cool air to the computer that's in here. So if it gets clogged up, the computer can overheat, and then you might have some issues with the computer. So you do want to pull this out. You can just take this and put it with your sprayer over there or the dishwasher, spray it off, and then set it and let it dry overnight. And come in the morning, make sure it's dry before you put it in back in. You don't want to put it back in wet because then it's pushing moist air up into the computer. So then slide it in and just click it back up into place like that. And then there's teeth on here.
Okay.
Those go on the outside. And you just put the teeth in, you line it up, and then you just give it a little wrap.
So you
And
said
it's
you
back in
before
place.
you want it.
Yeah, once a quarter, take a look. And if you notice that first 3 months, you look at it and it's really dusty, maybe once a month.
Okay.
If it's not very dirty, maybe every 6 months or
Just
whatever.
rinsing and
Just
putting it
rinse
back
it
in
and dry, and if it ever starts to disintegrate or break down, there's a part number on the filter. It's listed on there, there's a little part number. You can actually go, if you order things on Amazon, some people do, some people don't like doing it, but they have them on Amazon. It's usually the easiest place to get it. If not, I think Parker can get those, but I know for sure Pride can definitely get them, the people that work on the oven. But it'll last you a bunch of years before you need to worry about replacing it. So yeah. But the roasted vegetable button should get, I think that's going to be very nice for you. I think it's going to be a good option for doing large quantities. Do you have half sheet pans here?
Yeah.
Or would you roast directly in a hotel pan?
We have a small half-sheet pans here.
You know, a half sheet pan, they have the little lip,
Yeah,
like
right.
an inch lip on it.
Correct, yeah.
Like a cookie sheet. I would recommend using those. If you use hotel pans, I would they make a 2.5 inch hotel pan, so it's not as deep. It's like that deep.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
if you
think
have
we had
those,
that also.
Yeah.
You're right
I
there.
would use those. I would, what I would do is spray the pan. Yeah. So you want, that's better. That'll work better. That's actually a Volrat pan. That's a good pan. That pan has a lifetime warranty on it. So what you want to do is you don't want to have when you're trying to roast, you want the air to hit it, because that's what's going to really color the product as we're cooking it. So if you have the ledges of the hotel pans sticking up and the vegetables are sitting on the bottom, it's just going to unevenly color the vegetables. Probably not as big of a deal because most of your vegetables are going in something else, right? So that it's not like you're
Maybe
serving.
we'll be doing some seasoning and all those things, adding a few
Yeah.
things later on.
Yeah.
So that should be fine.
Okay, yeah. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But you want to probably use the half sheet pans, or what I would do for sure though is if you have cooking spray, spray the pan first.
Yeah.
Then do your vegetables, because whoever's doing the dishes is going to be very happy with that versus not spraying the pan and having to use more elbow grease. Excuse me. I want to show you how to save and get things onto the can I do that without? Okay, so when I save a program, it's going to end up right here where the little notepad with the pencil is. So if I hit that, you're going to see all of these are already saved in here. And these are all a lot of things you're not going to use. So I may just delete them all
Yeah.
so they're not even on there and confusing anyone. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that. But as you make ones, this is where they're going to go to live. That would be all of them. And then what you do from there is if you find one, and I'll just do it for an example so you can see how we do it. If you find one that you like the baked potato by chance, and you hit this little 3-dot button and then hit the star, okay, that just put it on that star menu on the main screen. So now if I hit the star menu, there's your baked potato. If you don't want it on there anymore, you just hit the delete button and you'll delete it off of it. Okay. I would highly recommend, if we've got multiple people cooking in here, one or two people know how to do that, and the rest of them just go in, hit the star, hit what they need, The roasting button, you definitely have to wait for a preheat for. I'm gonna guess the lentil button that's in here, you're gonna have to wait for it to preheat because that's higher than a steam. It just so happens, I don't think I realized that with the rice button, you don't need to use preheat with. So that was super interesting, and I actually learned something after 15 years. Have Evan, when Evan comes, have him review this with you. Your production manager, that was that level control. Because you guys would be able to do rice on specific ones without a timer, without a probe, with the timer. You can do rice on one shelf. And it can be a rolling application, which means as you need it, you're putting it in. Even if there's stuff already in there, you open the door, you put it in, drag that item down, and then the timer starts for that one. All the other timers stop as soon as you open the door. So it becomes like a rolling application, so you don't have to just do like batch cooking where you're cooking 5 pans of something at a time. You could do 3 pans and then prep and then put 2 more pans in later as the other ones are finishing. You're pulling them out, and it becomes more of a rolling application. I think that could be really helpful for you.
How long this can be continuously used?
Say that again?
How long it can be continuously used? Is that-
Continuously used in a day, it could go 24 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of chefs will use it to do overnight cooking too. So they're large cuts of meat and stuff like that. If they were doing like a prime rib roast or pork, like a pork butt or short ribs, or they're going to do an overnight cooking process where when they leave, it's going to cook and then it's just going to hold overnight. That way they're not using the oven space during the day. So you guys are never going to need to do that, I don't think, and the items you're trying to cook would never work in there anyway. So yeah, you're going to be very surprised at the volume you can cook on this. So I think your Saturdays and Sundays should hopefully.
I told him like 1,000 people. He tells it should be possible to cook
Yeah,
with this.
I think so. Especially with that rolling application, because you're not getting all 1,000 people at one time, right? They're filtering in through the course of 10 hours, I'm guessing, give or take. Yeah. So let's say you're doing 150 people an hour or something like that. My guess is, have you guys figured out like a 4-inch hotel pan of rice, like how many servings that gets you? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Do you know?
With one, we can serve 30 people.
30 people.
Yeah.
So on average, let's say 5 pans an hour could be a reasonable amount or less. So you should be able to, at least a minimum, cook all the rice as you're going. But I do believe.
So right now we have like one pan. So it told us like 22 minutes. If I load all the 5, is it going to be
Yeah, I
same
don't
22
think
or
it's going to be the same.
No,
It's going to be very much the same. And the reason why I would say, because we're using a steam mode. It's not like it might take marginally longer because we have to heat up more cold product, right? But it's not going to be like we're cooking, I don't know, whole chickens or something like that. Where a whole
just
chicken,
rice,
yeah, this is just rice and it's
room
cooking at
temperature.
208 degrees, not 400 or 450. So.
Did he talk to you about a date for the chef training yet?
Well, I have to talk. I talked to Cody was going into something. I'm going to try. Evan can spend 4 hours with her and actually go through and cook. I can't. I just can't today. So.
Cody said he can do whatever date works for them. So
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I talked to Kumaran. Kumaran said to talk to you about a date.
Okay. Maybe the previous week would be better if possible.
Yeah, you can pick a date. My phone is here.
We don't have anything now. You can turn that off for now.
Okay.
You're fine for now.